Well, it's so delightful to have you all back together again. I know Beth and Ellie just have a short time to be with us this evening before they need to run. And I don't have too much of an agenda for this evening. What I'm thinking is Maggie is willing to do a little gratitude and ceremony for us in just a moment once we settle to help us settle in. And then I'd like to just have each of you share your experience. Like this was, the best thing ever, or you know what, I kind of didn't get into it too much. And I've heard from many of you, and both extremes are true and just fine. And then I would like to talk about if we would like to do something beyond this, or if you think I should plan it for next year, and just kind of whatever else experientially you might be interested in, so that we can keep this alive and honor our holy nights together. Sound okay? Things okay. Good. All right. Well, let's see. I'm just going to do one more quick welcome. We have Maggie and Paige. Hi, Paige. And Betsy. And Betsy, I found out, has a home in Maine. I'm going to hopefully go connect with her in Maine when I go to New England. And then there's Beth, who's not there at her desk. Hopefully she'll be right back. And Ellie and Sarah. Is Rachel joining you, Sarah?
I asked her to. She may have forgotten.
Okay.
Very busy social life.
That's why she had to quit her job, right?
Yeah, I think you introduced Diane as Betsy.
I did.
Yeah.
I'm going. There is a Betsy. Betsy's over here.
Oh, okay. I didn't hear because Diane also has a home up there. I thought maybe you were going to visit.
You're most welcome.
I was like, wait, that's Diane. I don't know Betsy.
Here I am. And we're in Maine. Yeah, hi Diane, and hi Stephanie. Glad you could join us. And Linda and Bill and Anne. Is Dennis with you, Anne? No, just Anne. Okay. And Vivian. Hello, hello. And Susan's kind of in the dark, wherever she is. And then there is, I think this is Anne from wherever she's in London or some other place. There she is. Hi, Anne. Welcome. All right. Well, Maggie, it has offered, as I mentioned, to do a little gratitude ceremony by way of grounding us and welcoming everyone here and sort of officially closing the container of the Holy Nights that we started back in December on solstice 21st, and that officially ended on Thursday of last week. And here we are on Tuesday, January 11th, 1/11/22. So it feels like an auspicious day. Okay, Maggie, if you'd like to take it away, that'd be
okay. Thank you, Selena. Oh, welcome everyone. It's good to see your faces. Some I know, some I don't know, but it's good to be with you all. Oh, and just whether you had the opportunity to work with cards or to work with some other kind of tool to gather wisdom and connect with the energies of this year that we've already started, or if you haven't had time to connect yet, it's okay. Either way. I just invite you now to just to really just get centered and place your feet on the floor, or notice your feet on the floor and how you're connecting to this earth. And just receiving the nurturing energies of feet. Feeling those nurturing energies rise through your body. Feeling your head open to the heavens above. Totally connected. Placing your hand on your heart, and if you'd like to place a hand on your belly as well, just to notice your breath and just On every inhale, feel how you're receiving this vital life force energy through your breath. Feel the waves of breath through your body, receiving exactly what you need in this moment from this breath. And on the exhale, giving what you need to give back. If there's something to let go of, you can release it on the exhale. And just finding this connection to your breath. Maybe feeling it slow down just a bit. And feeling that cycle of life on the receiving on the inhale, giving on the exhale. And feel this deeper connection to all of life, all around you. Even though that you cannot see, that you can only. And with your hand on your heart, if that's comfortable for you, just feel the light of gratitude just growing right within your heart. Placing your attention right there in that heart space. And allowing a blossom of light to just start blooming right there. Growing with each inhale. And feel into the gratitude you have, or the gratitude that you will have for the lessons of the past year of 2021. We may not be there yet with the gratitude, that's okay. But maybe there's just an inkling of an opening for that gratitude. For any lessons of the past. Some might have been challenging, and some might have been full of joy and amazement and wonder. And just feel yourself drawing into the energies of 2022, just drawing those towards you as you hold this space of gratitude for the past. Feel what you've connected to so far about 2022. The ebb and the flow of the challenges and the joys and everything in between. And connect with that path of 2022. Connect with the energies of the year, the insight and the wisdom that you may have had an opportunity to connect with over the past 2.5 weeks. The wisdom that a year from now, you'll be looking back on with this same gratitude. And see yourself just walking down the path of 2022, a beautiful path. Maybe there are rocks. Maybe there's vibrant trees and flowers and plants. Maybe there are some buildings or some cliffs, even a waterfall, a stream. Notice the beauty of 2022, and maybe even in that beauty, there are some crevices, some boulders to climb over. But notice that your heart feels full of love and gratitude as you look ahead. And as you walk, notice along the sides of this path and in the path itself, friends and family. And as you see their faces, your heart fills with love and gratitude. You're sending blessings ahead of you for 2022 as you meet with these faces in love. You see things and people that represent your work and your passions. And as you do, fill your heart with love and gratitude. Again, sending blessings ahead of you. You see symbols of your finances, and you fill your heart with love and gratitude, sending blessings ahead of you. Further on this path, you see symbols, maybe people or images representing your health, your self-care, your home, maybe your connection with nature. Fill your heart with love and gratitude, sending blessings ahead of you. You've of 22. There are some bumps, twists and turns, and finding openness in your heart. Hold all of this in love. Holding the year of 2022 in your love and in your gratitude. And just blessing in your own way, whatever challenges and joys, the learnings and the lessons that are to come ahead. Connecting with your heart and your breath in gratitude. And as we come to the end of 2022, you see a light moving towards you. As you get closer, you see that this light is the future you, the one that has experienced the fullness of 2022. Connect with this version of you that has already walked this year. Feel your heart and theirs connect. Receive the love, the compassion, and the wisdom that this one has for you. Feel the encouragement they have for you. With your hearts connected, stand with this one, gazing back at 2022. Oh, feeling the gifts of the year. Receiving the confidence. Receiving the strength that your future self is giving to you. And right now they're giving you a gift. Their hands are raised. Their hands are pointed towards you, opening. And they're giving you a gift. And this gift is a special gift for the year of 2022. And you look in their hands and you receive this gift. Notice whether it's a word or a symbol, maybe a color. Notice what this gift is. Take it into your hands, into your heart, in gratitude. And if you have a question for this one, you may ask it now. Maybe you want to know something about this year coming ahead. And see what wisdom they have for you. And when you receive it, you thank this one. And know that any time that you need wisdom in the coming year, you can reconnect with this one. Thank them for holding this light for you for 2022. And walk back through this path into this present moment. And when you're ready, take a deep breath, returning to this space and time, full of gratitude, full of wisdom, full of whatever it is you need for this year. And you can open your eyes when you're ready.
Thank you, Maggie, for that beautiful journey through the year. That was really special. Thank you. Well, I know that Ellie and Beth have a short time to be with us today, so I'm going to ask the two of you, one of you at a time, to begin and just share with us maybe where you were, what was happening, how the Holy Nights were for you, if the tools were interesting guides or not. If you found some other way to celebrate, just kind of share the whole experience with us. And Ellie, you want to start?
I would love to. I'm going to be teaching in a few minutes, so this is great. Thank you for letting me share. I was on a journey of my son and his family live in Jordan, and so we went over to Jordan early in December, mid-December, and then went with him and his family to Cyprus. So I started the Holy Nights in Cyprus, up in the mountains, and it was glorious and beautiful. And the house Airbnb we were staying in was a small cabin type house with a wood fire. So every night I had a wood fire to sit by and enjoy, because I love fireplaces and I don't have one. So I got to have lots of wood fires that I would not normally have. And so my overall for the year was about collaborative dreaming, but then all the ones for for each month was much more about new growth and letting go of old patterns and trying on new things. And a lot of that kind of each month had that pattern in it. And so what was really fun was right at the end of our journey, the very last day we were in Cyprus, we went to a monastery, and it was the monastery of Saint Neophytus. And if you look up neophyte, in Greek, it's that new blossoms, new beginnings kind of energy. And so that was just so fun to have that be kind of the end of the Holy Nights as a kind of stamp on knowing that something new is trying to grow and how to keep trying to nurture that through the year. So it was wonderful. Even though I wasn't there for the first night, I got to watch the video and feel connected to you all. So thank you, and wishing you all blessings. I would love to do this again next year. And since collaborative dreaming is part of my year, I would love any ways we stay connected. So blessings to each of you. And I'm going to sign off so I can get to my class. Thank you.
Thanks, Ellie. Thank you. That was delightful. Okay, Beth, are you going to the same class as Ellie? Want to share? You're muted still.
Ellie's teaching her Qigong class, ironically.
Oh.
No, I have to go take care of my dad.
Oh.
But this was really fun, Selena. Thank you. Thank you both for putting this together so much. I feel like Ellie, I'd like to stay connected and do more. But I I hadn't looked ahead at a year in this way ever before, and it was really interesting. I had the overall year was the balance of all elements. And that came up in a few different months as well. And then other things I never would have thought of came up. Cards I had never drawn before came up. So that was kind of interesting. And I had COVID over Christmas.
Oh,
My daughter called me up before she came home saying, Mom, I just want to hang out together every day and do a lot together. And she brought home COVID and we were in isolation together for many days. So I was like, Ellen, next time, why don't we like plan a trip together or something like that instead of hanging out? But nobody else got it. My husband, my son, my father, my cousins, everybody. I was cooking dinner Christmas Eve and it hit me like a brick wall. So it was kind of interesting. She drew cards with me while we were in isolation for the year, and that was fun to do together too. So it was helpful, and we will see. It's always fun to look back after you've done something like this. So we'll see. But thank you. It's fun.
yeah. Well, are you feeling better now?
Oh yeah,
Oh, good. Okay.
much better. Yeah,
Good.
thanks.
Glad to hear it. Yeah. Well, I'm glad you and your daughter gave you something to do while you were feeling less than ideal.
Yes. Ask me about any current movies. I've probably seen them.
Anything you can watch on streamed, right? Wonderful. Beautiful. Great. Well, thank you so much, Beth.
Thanks.
Let's start with the time zones in case people need to drop off. Let's see, Anne, I think you're in the most east from me time zone, Anne Derby. Would you like to share your experience?
Okay.
You might have to turn your video off.
Thank you. All right. Okay. Let's turn my video.
I can help with that.
Oh, you can turn off. Great. Thank you. Oh, so I did it my own way, which was probably not sort of organized the way you organized it. So I ended up in London by mistake for both Christmas and New Year. And I was on my own and I realized, it's such a family time. And so it felt, and London was kind of abandoned, London was very quiet. So anyway, I learned quite a bit. So it was really, really good at paying attention. So what I was doing was trying to be present in the moment. And so one morning I woke up and words were in my mind. Well, it's all a sacred journey and we're guided and we just have to read the signs. That's what was told to me. And then I was kind of looking into the water of the Thames and seeing its depth and realizing the waters inside of us and how they got churned up by different things that happen. And then I was remembering Master Ming Tong's pond and how the reflection on the water is much more defined when the water is still and everything's imprinted then. And then, I start realizing everything's imprinted everywhere. Everything we think and everything we do and everything we share. So just, let's see. And I was sort of wondering about attachments and invisible connections that we don't even know we have, and attachments we don't even know we have. But when they're broken, you feel them. And that, oh yeah, this is what I realized, that there's so much holding life together inside of us and outside of us that we're like not aware of. And I was like thinking a lot about, oh yeah, I was listening to the survivors, Holocaust survivors on YouTube, their testimonies, and wondering about getting stuck in fear, and the courage of these people to share their story, and the gist of what they said, and why they went through all the distress and of remembering many things, all different people. They said that if there is a plan, and people want it done their way, and they feel they will get away with it, no matter what atrocity, they'll do it. And that we need to be awake and aware, and realizing this. We need to realize this. So I felt that's really important to know as well, because I feel like everything that's happening is really designed for locking down. Oh yeah, this is why, because I was listening to the survivors. So everything they shared as the upcoming to what happened for them was like what's happening for us now. And it took 4 years to put it all in place before things started escalating. So I've learned a lot there, and not to get stuck in the fear. And that when think about Master Ming Tong telling us to go when we feel afraid, just make the sounds. And I've been doing that. So what my plan for the year, I don't know. Oh yeah, one card I managed to. Two things happened. I talked to somebody on Christmas Day, and he doesn't have shelter, so he said that he was married, and he believed in the family, and he called himself the pine tree. He said he's a pine tree, that he is looking for love, feeling. So I understood what he was saying. He was sort of saying that his family got all caught up in razzmatazz and property and things, and he ended up on the pavement. So that was one thing. And then I look in the church and I think, oh gosh, Jesus was born and there was no shelter, and that all seemed connected. And then there was one card that I pulled, and it was the holly. And the holly was supposed to be it was a tree angels or something. I had this deck of cards, and I looked up the pine as well, because he said he was a pine, and it's about steadfastness. So the holly, in the picture, the human figure is like is in the holly tree. There's a human figure with the right hand upright on top of the head, where I suppose the right in the middle of the head, and the left hand upright in a straight line in the heart area. So there's a white line coming down the center. So it's like and a column of light coming down, and it says about clarity and expose my fears and my intent, and trust in my inner voice, and take courage, and that the sword pierces the veil, and truth is double-edged, merciless but full of love, and holly is prickly, and it's a barb that spurs me on and an impulse to wake up. So that's as much as it, I'm still learning. Thank you.
Thank you, Anne. It sounds like it was a rich time for you. Thank you for your sharing. Wonderful.
Thank you.
Okay, we have lots of folks on the East Coast, I realize, so maybe we'll go to Diane first, please. Next, please. Hi.
Hi. Thank you, Maggie, and thank you, Selena. I thought this was wonderful. It's the first time I've ever done anything like this. I've drawn cards just kind of arbitrarily when the mood inspired me, not so much as an intention and with a presence or a depth in myself. So I thought it was magical and it really moved me. So yes, I would definitely do something like this again. I think the collective, the chi field is really helpful. And yeah, I'm just really grateful. So my card for the year was water. And I loved it. I kept reading it and reading it. And I just the intention of the cleansing, the regeneration. I think there's so much to water. So what I was doing throughout the course, I would take a picture every day and just something that was resonant for me. And I would take it during the day and then I'd pull the card in the evening. So the first 2 nights I took a picture of the card. So I was on a hike on that first water card. Then the next day, I was at a friend's house and it was toward the end of the day and I went, oh, I forgot to take a picture. So she says, oh, go out to my backyard. There's a great little sculpture of Pachamama and she's all bundled up for the winter. So I go out there and I took a look at Pachamama and I went, no, that's not my picture. So it was getting dark and I just wandered around her backyard and I found a picture of a spiral. That was my picture. That's the card I drew that night. So those synchronicities ended with that. They didn't carry on after that, but there was a whole lot of other synchronicities. And some of these cards were so powerful to me, I couldn't leave them alone. Like I couldn't not go back and reread them and just be in awe of the whole thing. So I want to be mindful of the time. I could probably talk a long time because this whole thing, it just blew my mind, the whole thing. So somewhere in the beginning, one of my teachers that I'm following right now gave a beautiful talk, and it was, the theme of the talk was on prosperity. And this particular person he's very poetic, he's very mystical, and when he speaks of a word, the depth, the breadth, the way, the word is just a brand new word. It's not like a word that I thought that was what that word was. He's just amazing. So what moved me was prosperity. And what his message is true prosperity is really not about success or about making money. Prosperity is about everybody. And prosperity happens, and it just moves my heart, when everyone is prosperous, when we're all involved in this. So this woke me up in a way that a few cards dovetailed with that. But one of the most amazing things that happened was that I thought, okay, I want to get involved in the community, and I've been thinking about what I'd like to do with this year collectively, and that's partly what the spiral was talking about going way, way in, and then coming out into community and into life and into the world. So what happens this one day is there's a knock at my door. It was toward the end of the day, and this lovely young woman is standing there, and she asks me if there's anything that I could give her to do so she could earn some money. She has 2 children, so she told me her little bit of her story, but it wasn't a story of woe is me. This woman had a presence about her, and she had an esteem about her. So I didn't have anything she could do. I wasn't going to give her a job, so I just gave her whatever money I had. And this was going to give her fuel because it was getting cold here. So I took that as a message, that this was a gift. She gave me a gift, and just her presence, our conversation, it was amazing. So I had a few of these kinds of things happen throughout this time. And then something else happened to do with feeding people in this valley. It's through the Organic Farmers Association, and they're looking for help to help bring organic or healthy food to low-income people. So I'm very moved, to say the least. And yeah, I just can't see I'm going to stop with a process like this. So anything I can do in community, I would welcome, even though I'm not a big participant on social media, and I'm not very good at that. But anyway, I'm here, and it's wonderful. So yeah, from the innermost corners of my heart, thank you. I'm so grateful. This was so lovely.
Oh, I'm so happy to hear that. So incredibly powerful. Yeah, Maggie's saying the same thing in chat.
Thank
Beautiful,
you.
beautiful, Diane. Thank you so much. Wow, I'm very moved. Susan, you're also on the East Coast over there. You want to share? For any of you, I think a couple of you didn't know Susan. Betsy, at least, didn't know Susan before. She missed our first meeting. So Betsy, Susan, Betsy.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm actually, an hour from Diane right now, maybe? That far? I don't know. So, or less, maybe even less. It's really, really cold here. It was -7 this morning before wind chill. So I'm bundled. So my holy nights are a work in progress. It was a fairly disjointed process for me because I was in the process of moving up here. And so actually for the first several days, Selena drew for me because I didn't even have my deck with me. And we were getting new decks for me. And so that was really awesome to have Selena draw them for me. I suggested she should draw them every day because she was drawing really lovely cards. But anyway, so I also feel like my new cycle started this past weekend, actually after the technical end of Holy Nights. So, I drew the cards. I will be revisiting them in a more focused way. I was between several households and over the holidays. So, yes, I'd love to do it again. Selena and I actually did it last year because Selena was at my house last year. and we did it together in person every night. It was fabulous. And this year, I actually had 4 different decks. Not even the one that I left at home, but 4 different decks to work with, which is really fascinating. So one note is the last card I drew for December, and it was from the Wild Kuan Yin deck, and it was Safe to Fall. And I thought, oh, now that's interesting. It was an interesting card to draw at the end of the year when many of the cards were very, at least on the surface, looked very positive and very abundant in different ways. And so it was interesting at the end, and I kind of felt like, oh, that's my card for the year. I don't know that yet, but it was interesting because I feel like that is a theme about safe to fall, safe to let go, safe to just fall into the arms of grace. So yeah, there's a lot of letting go happening. So anyway, I found that very interesting. And yeah, like I said, I feel like I will just be dropping deeper into this process, not at all confined to the Holy Nights, but yeah. So anyway, I appreciate it, and Selena, I really appreciate you helping me along in the process, because I was on the road, and then yeah. So anyway, yeah.
I checked back, Susan, last year. We started our Holy Nights process on January 7th. So
I didn't even remember that.
yeah, I didn't remember when we did it, but I knew it was after. So anyway, so, that just, and it was really valuable. So you can make this time your own, whatever it is. I think a portal is available probably 24/7, 365, maybe just a little bit bigger, a little bit softer this time of year. So unfold it the way you want to, need to. Beautiful.
And I will say I'm super tired, so I may have to sign off. I'm trying to hold it together, but I can tell I'm closing my eyes to focus and concentrate, and I'm starting to drift. So if I don't last, I'll catch you on the recording.
Okay. Good. Yeah, well, thanks for all that. That's beautiful.
Thanks.
Okay, another East Coast is Stephanie. You want to share next?
All right. So Selena slacked me today. Are you coming? I said, well, I may bail. But it was such a nice invite. I said, okay, I'm coming. Because I did not get as deep as my 40-year-old Chi Buddy, 40 years of being a Chi Buddy with Diane did, for example. But it was fun hearing about her journey as it was happening during these times. The word wonder, I've taken as my word for the year, and had some good time with that every day. Had a chance on Friday to see the immersive Van Gogh exhibit. Talk about wonder. Oh my goodness, that was amazing. And this is a whole new realm. Like, who was it? Ellie or Beth said, I think it was Beth, that it's the first time to really look at a new year in such a systematic way. And that's neat. I got it. That came through so clearly from Maggie's meditation that she led us. So, wow, this is really a different way of looking, approaching being. And yeah, I'm enjoying it. So, oh wow.
Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you for that. I'm so glad you decided not to bail and that this time was magical for you in the ways that it was and that it's still going. That's beautiful. Thank you.
A year of it.
What?
There's a year. Whole
Year.
year.
Yeah, absolutely. Wonderful. Okay, Maggie, I think you're our last East Coast person. You want to share?
Well, I picked out something to share. One situation. There was a card that I drew called the Eagle Priestess. It was this woman, and I've seen this card before, and I always thought it was an owl because I just didn't look closely enough at it. And it's like an owl on her head, kind of. But when I looked at it this time, I saw the eagle so clearly, and I love eagles, and sometimes I see them where I live, but I don't always see them, you know. So I always take it as like a really special connection when I see the eagle flying nearby. So anyway, that night, so I didn't realize, I thought that it was an owl the whole time, and I went to bed that night, and I dreamt about an eagle, and this eagle was going into this debris and clearing debris out, like rodents and snakes and things that I didn't really want to come into contact with. And the eagle just kept clearing it out, and I made eye contact with this eagle in the dream, and it kind of let me know, like, this is my job, this is what I'm doing, this is what, you know, you want me to do this, like. So there was like this fierceness of, I'm not going to stop, you know, even if you don't want me to, I'm not going to stop. And then when I went back and I looked at the card again, I realized it was an eagle in the card. So I thought that was pretty neat that it was actually the eagle in the card. And then later on, I saw the eagle outside, a real eagle outside. So it was a really, really nice synchronicity for me. And it was, it was about this particular month. So January. So, and it's already raging up, for me. So, so come on, eagle, help me. So I just, you know, there were many other times where the card just connected so beautifully with what was happening that particular day. And then it's funny because the whole rhythm of this time, I kind of got wrapped up in life between the October card and the November card. And I realized, I'm like, whoa, I'm really getting like distracted and wrapped up. And I just thought, oh, I wonder what that energy is like in October and November later this year. So it just was something to kind of be aware of, like just to, oh, okay, you know, I could refocus, I can come back, or I can give myself the time at that time, you know, like, because I think that was more of the message for me, is like to just, yeah, if you need time to be with something, be with it, you know, and take your time. There's no, you know, there's no constraints. It's fluid, and it was a beautiful time to really connect with the year and to dream, because I feel like for me, I'm kind of in the dreaming place right now about this year. Even with these cards, you know, I feel like that was like it was a foundation, and I feel like I can go deeper into the dreams for the year. So thank you, Selena, for starting this.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you for your participation and collaboration and sharing. Sounds like an exciting time, and the reflection will continue.
Mm-hmm.
Lovely.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. I think our central time zone is Anne. Hi, Anne. And Anne wasn't here for our first meeting, but so you didn't meet Anne Derby, who spoke earlier. And Stephanie, and well, lots of folks here, so I'll let you say hi.
I feel like I've stepped through the looking glass, and now, like after watching the video, now it's like I'm in the world there with you guys, here with you guys. So
Good.
I really, I'm very appreciative. And Susan Drier has been just the dearest friend of mine for many years. So I've heard a lot of your names over the years, and I've so enjoyed getting to know Selena more this year, and hopefully more soon. Anyway, it's been just a wonderful thing to be part of this community, and I have loved it. I sort of dropped in and out at different times. I was experiencing a lot of upheaval right around the holidays too, all of the typical family stuff, and but now we're also in the middle of a move here. I have a parent who's really on the threshold, so this has been, a real grounding, centering practice to tune into, even if it was just very briefly to get the card in the moment, and then process later. I had a lot of deck envy, I'll say, like all of everybody's cards, and it is really gratifying, to see people using cards the way that I have always used them, and like getting a lot of value from them, and to make that a kind of communal practice was, for the first time, was very meaningful. I found myself, like, when I finally got time to not just write the cards down, or to look at the images for a moment and write the cards down, when I got the time finally, maybe in late December, to finally sit down and begin to it was sort of weaving my story into the collective story, like working with the collective cards against my own, and finding these beautiful confluences. And I really loved that practice. And that was new for me. I told Selena early on I was having trouble, because one of the things, that I struggle with is like looking ahead. And I'm a teacher, I should know how to do this. But like planning ahead, even a day ahead, is sometimes very challenging to me. So the idea of drawing a card for a time like far into the future was, at first it was a challenge, but I think once I began to like look at them next to each other, you could almost see a kind of story, an abstract story. A lot of content and details have to fall into place, but I love that sense of like this story developing, and that story being part of a collective story as well. I'm trying to think. It reminded me too what Maggie was saying about going out ahead and meeting yourself. Like, why is it that I don't think that moment in April or in July is not right here in this very moment? So it's taught me a lot. Let's see. I had some I think also what it has done is to shape and train, my lens on the world. So I was attuned to different things. I was noticing my dreams in different ways. I was looking synchronicities, whereas, like actively looking. And I think when you're sort of expecting to see something, like you're more likely to actually experience it. So I had a series of dreams to me that felt significant. And the first one was on solstice. After the meeting, I was able to tune into it later. I think it was on solstice, but I had a dream where Selena was teaching us all a practice that was called cleaning. And it was about kind of dusting the corners of our minds, using archetypes, like using texts and reading texts very deeply and aligning with them. And so that alone felt like auspicious for the time. And there were other moments too, like my card for the year was The Little One Rises, which comes from the wild Kuan Yin deck. And butterflies have become a kind of symbolic, like a totem for me recently. And I noticed that card, I don't look at the images very deeply. And that was another thing, to look at the image very deeply. And I noticed there was a butterfly on that card. And then I thought, well, I wonder if there are butterflies, on the other cards. And then I looked through the whole deck, and that was the only one with the butterfly on it. And so like that alone made it special to me. And the card is a lot about courage. And I think courage is going to be a theme in this year. For me, I did a collage recently. Susan and I were sort of texting back and forth, like each working on a collage. And like right in the center of mine is a very large lion. And so, yeah, courage. Trying to think, is there anything else? Yeah, I would do this again in a heartbeat. In fact, I just don't want to stop. But I love to do it and love to participate in the group again. I really do. I'm beginning to really understand the power of visualization, the power of dreaming. And certainly that's something, I've learned also from Susan through Qigong, and it's just landing in a much clearer way for me right now. So thank you.
Wow. Thank you, Anne. That's incredible. I love your sharing and how things unfolded for you. And there was so much that you gleaned from just so far. And so much will continue to unfold, I'm sure. And it's fun that the process I was teaching in your dream was cleaning, because it's a lot of what I've been doing lately. Physical cleaning. So beautiful. That's fun. Synchronicities are great.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Okay, Sarah, can you turn your video back on, do you think? Are you there? Oh, there it is.
All right, there it is. Yeah, I ran to get me some heat. It's getting cold in here.
Ah,
Oh. So it's been so fun to listen to everybody's experiences and the different ways that they have integrated this. I've never done this before either. It's been neat. It's been fun. And yeah, I'd love to do it again. It almost would be fun to come together maybe once a month and, just reconnect and do like a monthly share and card. And anyway, that was just a spontaneous thought that just came to me. Yeah. I didn't have cards at the beginning. They were coming in the mail and they didn't come in time. And in a way, it kind of forced me to turn this each day into a medicine walk. And what I ended up doing was noticing what spoke to me that day, what caught my eye that day, what animal, what mineral, what herb, what flower, what element, or, and it also broadened the scope beyond what's in a deck. Because then when I got the deck, I was like, this is very limited. So it was a lot of fun, allowing the circumstances of not having cards gave me an opportunity to broaden the practice, which was really powerful. And then, going back and playing with the cards and drawing cards also has been fun to go back and forth. And it's really fun when they synchronize. you draw the like somebody was just sharing about the eagle. They've got the card and then they saw the eagle. Yeah, so they go together. There was I won't go into, all of us probably have amazing stories from each day and all the neat things. But one little thing that kind of really caught my attention, we went skiing and there was one day there was a blue stone that just really caught my eye, and I was like, wow, that's just the most beautiful color of deep blue. And then the next day we were walking around the shops, and we went into this one little series of shops, and there was a clothing store and there was a jewelry store, and I go in and I start talking to the lady there, and she's a jeweler. She makes her own jewelry, and she starts telling me about the blue lapis. And she goes, this stone is mined 11 miles from here, and it was just recently discovered, because before that it was only in 2 places in the world were they able to mine it. And I thought that was just so, little things like that. It was so fun to walk through life with a different level of openness and awareness. And it kind of reminded me of reading the Celestine Prophecies several months ago, and just the Native American tradition of noticing, the animals and the elements and the things that come to you during the day, and receiving the wisdom that they come to you for a reason. You notice them for a reason. And then going into that, and the opal was very meaningful, because the symbolism of that explained what had happened the day before emotionally. So anyway, I just wanted to share that, just a little different nuance for this. And one of the cards that I pulled that was kind of a card for the year was mistletoe. And it was about ritual, bringing ritual into our lives. And in a way, I feel kind of called to, do this once a month, at least, as a ritual, as a returning, as a coming back. There's a power in that. It's like a daily practice. So thank you, Selena.
Wow, look at you. Made it your own and gleaned so much from it. That's been beautiful. Thank you, Sarah. Thanks for sharing that. Great. Okay, Paige. We're in our mountain time zone here.
People. This was really powerful for me. I think kind of just getting together tonight, realizing like we scooped up these people that I love and have just amazing energy. So to be in that soup for the time was really powerful. Even this morning, I like the energy this morning. I was like, whoa, what is this? So that support was great. I too had a little bit of deck envy, so I'm glad Anne named that. I used my soul cards that I made when I turned 40. That was a big gift to myself. And so I didn't want to rush or buy one more thing for this. And so it was nice to just go with what I knew. There were a couple months where I had vulnerable draws, and that caught me off guard because I was getting all these power cards. And then all of a sudden I was like, whoa, these 2 months could be really vulnerable. So I was like, well, that's kind of good information for me to have. And there was a lot of up and down chaos, but I just felt really grounded through the whole thing. And when I wasn't grounded, I just spent more time or got more support to kind of do the draw. So I'm already starting to look into like reviewing what I drew for January and what were the messages and who were the cards and walking with them more deeply. And I haven't looked at my journals of the synchronicity to see what shows up. I did find that toward the end of the year, so I'm empty nesting after August of this year. My last son goes to college, and that was when the vulnerability started showing up. And I realized like my oomph to do the draws kind of started to wane, because that was feeling like there was bigger change for me. So I'm going to go back and look at what I did and spend more time and review it later. So I did with my cards, like write one sentence for each month, and then wrote a poem for the year of all those sentences. And that was really powerful to like bring it all back together. So I love the ideas of the pictures and the different things. And so thank you so much. I'm just really grateful.
Beautiful. Thank you, Paige. I'd love to see your poem if you feel up for sharing it with us. That'd be fun.
Yeah, I can. I have my journal here. So I share, you guys saw all my cards, but the sentence I wrote before we started was, A feminine, connective, nourishing retreat was what this drawing was all about for all of us. And then in 2022, Mother Mary, nourished, directed, powerfully connected, restored in our mother. Mother Earth, ground me, shield me, reflect away misalignment of mind, bake sustenance, pause for dance and beauty. Co-creating with God, the way forward, with curiosity, joy, and sensitive connection. I am one who is laughing, humbly listening, resting, and appreciating. I am one in darkness, survival, self-nourishing, cracking and piecing together, getting fired up by fuel. I am one who is single-focused, clear, in fiery heat, trusting, directed, and gathered in my clan. I am one who listens to ancient songs, sensitively bridging, traveling, and life-giving wisdom. And I am ruler of them in my body and heart, such that by others it is known. I am one in magical survival, contribution, and lenses of the tribe. I am one who is nourished by the dark of the seasons with watchful direction and sensitivity. I am one who nourishes the flow and fragility with ritual, going in and out, sitting at the feet of my ancestors. I am one wise, tuned in to sensitive global adventures and making them into form. I am one who is alone, is strengthened by the cycles, aware of the stresses and the depths. I am one intuitive, guided, observant, invited, a whole.
What is it? Thank you, Paige. Great. Wow. Beautiful sharing. Thanks. Okay, Betsy, I believe you're still in Colorado as well.
I am. I'm in Colorado. Yeah, I really loved this. And again, thank you, Paige, for inviting me. It was the first card that I chose was just blew me away as I spoke with Selena and a little bit with Paige about it too. And that really got me intrigued. Not that I wasn't already, but life was a little disjointed the last however long we've been, a month. But every day I drew a card and I made like a little ceremony of it. You know, I have in the morning, I'm an early riser, so I have some space and time, you know, by myself. And it's just, my kids are grown up, so it's just my husband and me, but still over the holidays, you know, we had a lot of, my kids were with us. And so I loved that time, as I always do. And I reserved it for a special reflection, you know, and the cards were very interesting to me. I drew one of them twice, grounding, and they all seemed to lead me in a direction that I have been wanting to pursue and to stay on, and that is grounding and resisting temptation and female empowerment. And I wrote some notes, and balance was, and those are all things that every single card resonated with me at some level, and some more than others. For that first one, temptation, just as I said, I was just, wow, this is incredible. And it isn't just, you know, it's not just temptation of material things. It's, temptation of, well, there's just so many things, you know, change your life, to be a different person, or you know what I mean, not accepting myself for who I am, and that sort of thing is all a part of it. One thing that I really noticed was that I noticed more, that I paid attention more. And speaking of dreams, I hadn't really even thought about that in the past when we were doing this, but when I hear people, I am not a dreamer. If I am, I never remember, but I have had some interesting dreams. Nothing profoundly exciting or that I couldn't get my mind off, but I have noticed my dreams, which is kind of interesting in itself. And I hadn't really put that together until tonight and listening to everybody. And then just one more thing was the synchronicity of the group and the energy that has opened up to me a lot of other things that I'm now noticing. And one, Stephanie mentioned this too, is the word wonder. Wonder has been popping into my life almost every day, sometimes numerous times in many ways. For example, tonight when Stephanie said it, and it just all different ways in the books I'm reading, in conversations with people, so that's been really interesting. And I feel like this whole experience has been has opened me into looking with wonder at things, and I would love to do it again. I love the idea of once a month. I'd be totally open to that. And thank you very much for getting this going. Thank you. And I hope you come to me.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that.
Wow. Yeah. Oh, how fun. Thank you for sharing. It's it's just so delightful to hear all of your experiences and how just this little teeny practice has shaped certain aspects of your awareness. That's just lovely to hear. Cool. All right, let's see. I think I've gotten our mountain time zones now. Let's go to Linda and Bill. I saw you guys chuckling a couple of times, so I'm very curious about what you have to share, the synchronicities in your world.
Okay.
There we go. Hi, all. So, yeah, this is a fabulous experience to be able to share this with all of you and feel your presence. Linda and I had the opportunity to do this together and, draw cards together, meditate, journal, and then share our experiences with each other. So it was powerful. And then knowing that you were all out there is just incredible. So I'll share kind of two experiences. When we started this off on the solstice, we had the spiral to work with. And I knew immediately that what I was working with was doubt and letting go of doubt. And so part of it was emerging with wonder. So walking back out of the spiral with wonder, and that's been a kind of a thematic going on here today, which is great. So the next morning, because, Selena suggested we go out and actually draw a physical spiral somewhere. And we walked down to Point Wilson on the Strait of Juan de Fuca here out in Washington and drew this large spiral in the sand. And just let me digress for a minute. If you've ever seen surfers out on the water, they seem to wait interminably for the right wave. And if you know waves, they come in sets of 3. So Linda and I, now back to the beach here, had just drawn out this large sand circle on the beach. And just as we completed the spiral, and I was going to walk in with doubt and then emerge with wonder, these 3 waves, huge waves, came in and washed away the spiral. It was gone. And I said, well, I don't even need to walk. But we did walk, and it was fabulous. So that was an experience. We drew the card, or I drew the card for the year, which was wonder, which is also a thematic that is here today, which is great. And reading the John O'Donohue book, Walk in Wonder. I don't know if you've read that or not, but it's fabulous. And that was my card for the year. So it's been a great journey. And we did journal. We drew the cards. Susan, and everyone, thank you for sharing all your aspects of the cards. And we journaled. And I look forward to I realize that cards have more meaning when I get to February or March or, November or whenever. And so I look forward to the beginning and the end of each month to pull out the journal and now see the meaning of the card. And this whole thing's a new experience for me, to be able to kind of look forward into the year and reach out and make it part of me now, walking on my path. So I think that's enough for me for now. So I just thank all of you for being here. And Selena, thank you so much for doing this for us.
My pleasure. Wow, what a sharing. Thank you so much, Bill. That's beautiful. Okay, and Linda, I can't wait to hear what you have to say.
Well, so we really did enjoy the spiral just being blown away right before we started to walk in it. And then we ended up with finding a shell that's been bumping around in boxes in our house, through different moves. And it's now on the altar as the spiral. So it's balancing a stone that's the earth. So
Oh, exquisite.
Yeah. So that was fun. So mine, I'll just go through a couple of them. So we went down. So I guess from a process thing, one, we really loved it, obviously, and I would definitely do this again at the beginning of the year. I also found that 6 months in, I was full. So I found that I pulled the last 6, but I said, I don't have to take them in right now. I just, all of a sudden it was like, phew, I've got enough. And that from a process, but Susan made a comment that she had like 4 decks of cards. And we had gone down and picked, we use animal cards every year and they just didn't seem like they would be deep enough. I have really ancient old ones. So we went down and we picked a Buddhist deck to work with that had basically deities and stuff on it, and dakinis, and very little interpretation, which we were both drawn to at the time. But then I started seeing your guys' cards, and when Susan said she picked from different decks, it's like, oh, good. Next year I'm going to buy some of those beautiful, soft-looking ones because the Buddhist one is kind of that feels more, just masculine in a way, very strong. Here's a statement kind of thing. And that's so I think next year I would do it with a few decks of cards that I'm drawn to and ask which deck of cards I should draw from that night. So anyway, from a process point of view, just listening to you guys, that's kind of where I ended up. So my first card that I pulled for the year was called Skull Cup. And I was reading it as Skull Cap. And then I said, okay, I need to understand this more. The Tibetan Buddhists actually go dig up bodies, take the skull, clean them, and use the skull of a human in tantric ceremonies to burn the stuff out of you that, out of the person that's doing it, not, so sometimes they put a liquid in it or something. So it was taking me a while to get kind of into the notion of Skull Cup. But when I read about it, it's really like going into the tantric is getting rid of all illusions that you have and doing it at all levels of your being. And so, which is a path that I've kind of been on lightly, but it's saying, okay, so here it is in front of you. So, so I really like the yearly card, but it wasn't enough for that card to show up. For my yearly card, it showed up in my birth month, which is June. So the balancing solstice bit, and that, so it showed up in June, and then it showed up in August. So I guess burning stuff, and the idea of the tantric ceremony is you release these things, and then the heat rises through your central core and truly burns it out. Your kundalini rises and stuff. So I said, well, this is going to be pretty intense. So then I had another card that showed up, and I had some lighthearted cards that showed up, just some humor in here. And sometimes I would pick a supporting card. I liked that idea when that concept came up. And I liked the supporting cards that I got for something. So the other card that I got twice was the manifestation of a Buddhist teacher who came into this life 6 times. I'd say his name, but I would slaughter it. He came into this life 6 times as a teacher. And so he manifests all the learnings, all the teachings of the Buddhist realm. And I said, and then the one-line sentence, I'm not sure who wrote these one night. It was basically go find a teacher. And I went, just Dr. Peng showed up to me at the end of the 40-day retreat and said, go study. And I'm going, well, this is interesting. It's in that line. And then I'm sitting in the room that we're in here, which is both where we do the Qigong, but where all my spiritual books are. And they all tend to be from the 1980s if they're not really recent. And I glanced over and I said, there's a book on my bookshelf that the first time that I had what does it mean to have a teacher question? I went into this bookstore in Cambridge, and here comes this book. I call it falling out off the shelf at me. Here comes this book, and I pick it up and I sit down to look at it to see if I want the book. And this bolt of lightning just holds me to the floor. I'm, just like, and I haven't experienced this before, but I'm in a huge light bolt being held to the floor. And I said, I think I need what's in here. I don't know how long I was in that state because it's a religious bookstore. And this guy asked me very politely on the way out, he asked some question of me. So I knew he had observed. And I just kind of said, yeah, no, nothing happened. Don't worry. And anyway, I picked up the book to look at it again, because it is the book and it has 3 statements about teachers, and in essence says the teachers within is the bottom line. And then it's Baba Friedjan, and he's saying you could. So anyway, I have the teacher for two of the months. So I feel like I was going to say, I feel like I'm on a wild ride. I don't know what would be wild about it, but it's also a journey that I've consciously started back in the 80s and asked for things. So I guess it's time to burn and cleanse, and whether I find real life teachers as part of my support. One day when I picked a card from the North, we were in here and I just had teachers that have been in my life who've all died, who were, like Satchidananda, and that just came to me from the North. I'm not sure what all that means, but they just were here and present. And so I realized for me, it's not like one teacher, but it doesn't mean that it's not an embodied person for a part of the time. So I'm looking forward to it, and I'll take some time to look at those last 6 months. I just was full by the time I hit my birthday. So thank you.
Wow. What a great experience to share. That's amazing. Congratulations, both of you. That's beautiful. I'm so happy.
We'll see where we are at the end of the year.
Yeah, well, I'm happy that you were able to do the experience together, and and it feels like a really special flow. That's beautiful. All right, my West Coast Vivienne, would you like to share?
Sure. You know, when Selena suggested this, I wasn't actually that thrilled, even though when Selena, I mean, not thrilled. I was always thrilled to be anything suggested by Selena. And we did pick cards when she stayed here. But I have to say, it was so much more than I was expecting. I suppose all I've done in the past is pick one card every now and then. Sometimes I'll do it every day for a while. But this was different. This was much deeper, and doing it in community. Oh my God. And with people, you know, most of the people I know, but I know the other people are absolutely wonderful too. I can feel this. It's just a fabulous collection. So this was deep, and it's so interesting hearing you all and looking at our card, our collective card that Selena drew, the spiral, because it just feels like that's the theme, that the death of the old and the rebirthing of something new. And I take everything that's happening to me right now as I am the microcosm of the macrocosm. You know, this is what's happening in the world. So we're going through this, you know, very, you know, let's be honest, very painful awakening. It's a rough initiation, as Francis Weller calls it. It's been really rough for me this month, as much as we've had, the last 3 weeks. And that was reflected in my January card. You know, it's all about, my cards are all about diving deep, getting to the bottom of the barrel. And then I got 4 times the same card for 4 months, which is Electric Eel. I'm using a very simple deck, just one, called Spirit Animal Oracle, and I love it. It's very simple. It's yet it's very profound. And Electric Eel is actually really fabulous. It's about bringing big new ideas into life. And that's wonderful. But between those times when I'm bringing big ideas, I'm having to go really into the sewer, the sewer of the subconscious, and dig up stuff and really look at it and be vulnerable and humble. And that's what's happening to me right now. And it's been challenging, and I found support, amazing support. The universe just has been constantly giving me what I need, and I just am learning to trust that. And two times I got the same card, which was Ant, and it's about collaboration. And I've been seeing the words collaboration written across the horizon for about 10 years now. And I'm just really looking forward. So these big ideas, bringing them out is obviously in collaboration, and I'm really excited about that. That's really it. I consider what we're going through. I did years of shamanic work, and it just has become so clear to me that this is like soul retrieval. We're going through soul retrieval and bringing back parts, cleaning out so that we can bring back the parts of ourselves which got disassociated. And I'm very excited about that, because I had one teacher who said you can't do your own soul retrieval. You have to go to another shamanic practitioner. And I said, I don't think that's true. And he looked at me like, who the hell do you think you are? But here we are. And in fact, it's true. I'm not doing it alone. We're all doing it together. And the collective is so powerful, that the field that we're creating. But it's not going to one individual shaman and being guided and told this is what's happening. It's really initiating it from inside us, rough initiation though it may be. So I find I'm very hopeful, you know, for myself and for the world, despite the way things look. And coming out of the cards, frankly. My optimism I generally have about life is being very supported by the cards. Let's talk about it that way. So that's me.
Yummy. That electric eel is a fun one. Yeah, beautiful. All right, has everyone but me shared? I think so. Okay, good. Wow, so this was really an interesting experience for me too. Many layers. Part of it was just, creating the space, holding the space for the entire time and watching my energy around that and just observing. And then drawing for Susan for a little while. There are 2 other people who aren't here who participated that I drew for as well. So some days, I was getting all mixed up. My cards, collective cards, their cards, helper cards. Anyway, so it was, but it was good. It was really fun. And I tried really some new stuff for doing that. I've never drawn cards for other people necessarily before. So I really tried intentionally to take a breath in between each person's drawings and tune into their energy in a way that it felt good. And so anyway, all of that was really useful. And it felt like I was building some muscle to be able to connect with people energetically, telepathically, psychically, in some way, and then in the future. So anyway, so I felt like I learned a lot. My card for the year was a brand new to me deck, and it was a Wisdom Keepers deck. And it was this card that the name of the card was called Anticipation, which didn't really, it kind of just left me scratching my head a little bit. But then I read the description about this card. There's lots of symbolism on the card itself. So I spent some time there. But the theme for the year about anticipation is that there's a new chapter beckoning me in my life. And this is, I've been feeling this for months. And this new world, new chapter, every cell in my body is engaged in this. And the key to my dreams is not to do it alone, which, yes, thank you very much for the card for reflecting. That has been my dream and my wish and my hope for many, many months. And so with that as an overarching theme, I felt what I often feel when I get information like that is both incredibly grateful and then also incredibly responsible. Like, oh, okay, I've been given this beautiful gift. How do I leverage? That's not the right word. How do I bring that to life? How do I respond in the highest way with that information? And so I go into a challenge that I work on all the time, which is Uber responsibility. But so anyway, I had the opportunity to look at that differently. It's like, okay, if I am just given this task, but I don't have to do it alone, which gave me a lot of pleasure, how do I move forward with that? So the very first card I drew for January, I drew at Ming Tong's house, which was really interesting, from a deck that I had given him because he's very interested in the Oracle decks. And every time I do animal medicine cards for the retreat, he's totally into it. So this deck was also new to me, and I was a little nervous about drawing the card there and in that mode and in that way. But the card was Inner Wisdom. And so, based on, this anticipation card and a new world is beckoning me, and then the Inner Wisdom card, it kind of really set the tone. It kind of gave me the idea that I'm really ready. I really am ready to step into this new collaborative wisdom piece that is calling me, is really beckoning me. Other cards throughout the year were, about flow and about cycles and, paying attention. And like you, Linda, it was a little later than June, but by August, I was so full. I was so full, partly because I'm drawing cards for lots of people and the collective and myself, but it was like, whew, I am just full. So, so I drew the other cards, sometimes in batches, trying to tune into the month. And again, I will spend some time working with those a little bit later in the year. But two really fun synchronicities that I wanted to share. On Christmas Eve, I had been thinking about drawing cards, thinking about setting up this group, thinking about holding the space, how I wanted that to flow for me and in my life, and what my intentions were around that. And I was really calling in any kind of guides that just wanted to participate with me. And a lot showed up. So many, so that the night times here, that energy was palpable. The chatter was literally loud. And so that I didn't sleep. I haven't really slept for the last 3 weeks. After about 4 days of all this nighttime energetic activity with all these beings in this little teeny apartment I'm in, I finally had to have a talk with them. And I said, look, people, this is not a rave. I didn't invite you all to have an all-night party. I have to sleep. And so you need to tune it. I'm happy you're here, but we can't just stay up and party all night. And it did shift. And so it was amazing. But there's still a lot of beings that I'm aware of here that are new in my awareness. Let's just put it that way. And I was curious, some are people, beloveds that have passed on. Some are beings that I've never really met before. Some are guides that I often call on. But on the very last night, so this was the January 5th, I think it was, I was sort of winding down and I was thanking the beings that had been around in the daytime and the nighttime. There's a certain gate that I go in and out of the property here where there are stone elders who hang out kind of near that gate. And so I was honoring them as I was driving through and spending a few moments of just thanking them for participating. And I was on my way to town to a chiropractic appointment, and I needed to leave here where I live at 2:15 in order to get there for my appointment on time. And I got into the car, and this was January 5th. And I hadn't driven my car since the new year, and noticed that the clock on my car screen said 3:15. And I thought, oh my goodness, did I mess around too long in the apartment and I'm late? And so now I need to call my chiropractor and tell him, I don't know how, but I'm late. But then I checked my phone, and the time was still the correct time, which is 2:15. So I thought, well, that's weird. Well, maybe my car's, if the battery was a problem, then it wouldn't have started. So maybe it just reset the clock because of the year, but I've had this car for 10 years. It's never done this before. So it was curious to me why the clock would be off. And then right underneath the time is the date. And the date also was wrong. And the date was very specific. It said May 22nd, 2002. And I was like, okay, this is random. This is not just my clock resetting itself for January 1st or some crazy thing. And so on the drive into town, I started thinking, what happened May 22nd, 2002, 20 years ago? And what I realized is that that was the day and the time, 3:15, that my husband died 20 years ago. And he died at his own hand. He committed suicide, and I found him, and it was a very upsetting day, to say the least. And so processing his death after that has been a journey of many levels. And so, I just tuned in. It's like, why this day? And then I realized that he is one of the beings who had been at this party, who had been among them. I've not tuned in with him in these 20 years in the same way as a guide, in the same ways that I have others who have passed over, and just figured that he was not available. He was doing some other kind of work. But anyway, it was really lovely. It felt like he showed up with a message, like, I am here on the last day. And it was when he died, lots of things happened in the house were affected, and it was primarily electronics and clocks. So again, it was just like a very clear message that he had been part of these holy nights, and that he was here working with me to help support through all of this new journey that I am poised to step into this year. So that was one pretty amazing coincidence and synchronicity. And the other was the morning of the first day I was drawing. So that would have been September 24th. I stepped out of the shower and looked out the little window, and just across from me, there's these logs that stick out of the building, very stereotypical New Mexico architecture. And these two crows were facing each other, both sitting on one of these vigas, is what these logs are called. They're like beams. They were both sitting on it in kind of a V shape with their heads together, but then their necks together, but then they were both looking in opposite directions. And it just seemed very symbolic and interesting. And so later I thought, I'll Google it. What does it mean when you see two crows sitting? And as I Googled it, there actually was a tarot card that looked almost identical to the image that I had just witnessed outside my window. And these crows have been noticeably vacant here this year, but so seeing them was quite special, almost as special as Maggie seeing her eagle for this time. And then the very last day of the Holy Nights for the collective, the card I drew was the crow. I'm sorry, I forgot to push publish until today when Linda reminded me that I hadn't done that. So the very last card for the collective was the crow, and it's all about using your voice to manifest. And so as bookends of the two crow meaning is good news is on the way, lots of voice, lots of news, lots of mystical, magical wisdom that is being communicated by the crows. And then the last bookend card being of the crow. It just felt like a really personal synchronicity to me. And also for this process that we have collectively birthed together. And it's really gratifying to hear all of your stories and sharing of what happened for you. So that's my share. I appreciate all of you communicating in Slack, sharing your pictures. You can continue to do that. The Slack is not going away. It just lives there, and all of us will get notified if you have something to share. Please do. One of the things as I'm listening to each of your stories that I just wanted to point out is that so many of you mentioned that the process that we kind of co-created here brought you to a new degree of presence in your everyday. Paying attention to what symbols come into your world, what animals, what memories, what dreams, etc. And just living that presence is super valuable. And I think it will serve us all and serve you individually in innumerable ways. So just really being present with all the levels of communication and messaging that there is available to us we forget. And it's really beautiful that we're reopening back up to that. Some of what I have been considering is calling this group together once a quarter, like on the equinox and the solstices. It's interesting that a couple of you mentioned once a month. I am willing to do whatever feels right. So I guess the best way to do that is just, if you've already shared, great. If you want to share again, you can either do that now, or you could do that in Slack and just say what you would be up for. You know, I don't want this to make this another thing on the to-do list. We all have busy lives, but I also think that it has been a really magical collection of people. And the folks who are here are amazing. And then there are another 10 or 12 people who haven't been able to attend or respond much, but they have been talking to me personally. So they are engaged. So our group is really about twice as big as we see here on Zoom, which is really quite lovely. So I will give that some more thought and put some notes in Slack or send it to you in email, and just kind of do a little survey, like, okay, what should we do next? For me personally, life is going to get super, super busy. It's already busy, but super, super busy for the next 3 months, especially. I'm going to be traveling, possibly moving, changing the things I'm doing, work related still for the Chi Center, but in a whole different way. Starting a wisdom school, I'm called to do that. So anyway, the next 3 months are going to be super busy for me. So my guess is that for me, the next time that I would have to pull everybody together would be in about 3 months, probably on the spring equinox. So I would like to target that. But if we decide spontaneously, hey, it's the first of the month, let's all check in and share our cards, you know, we can do that informally. I'm happy to do that as well. So by way of closure, let's just do a quick check out anything that you'd like to share, that you gleaned from others sharing today, requests that you have of the group or of me. And let's start with Stephanie. But you're muted, Stephanie. Hold on a second. There we go.
Max and I enjoyed it very much. I love it.
Thank you, Stephanie. I'm just going to go down my screen. Anne, you're next.
That me? This Anne?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Left.
I'm almost too full to be able to like articulate. But yes, thank you so much. I really look forward to meeting again on the equinox, and we'll keep up this practice in the meantime. So thank you so much, everybody. And
thank you, Anne. Vivi, are you still there? Maybe we'll come back. How about Susan? Did you fall asleep?
Hopefully.
Maybe. Okay, Linda and Bill, you're next on my screen.
Go ahead.
I feel very full and very thankful. I feel a little bit of a loss of ending, knowing everyone's doing it at the same time, but I realize there's no reason not just to continue feeling the connection, and I'm glad that we'll get together quarterly or however it happens to keep that aliveness together of the group.
Yeah, so I feel connected to this group no matter what we end up doing. So, but I do love the idea of doing it on the solstice and equinox.
Thanks, guys. Vivi, back to you.
Yeah, I thought quarterly was what came to me, and that would be wonderful. And this was wonderful today and look forward to continuing to be with this community. Thank you, Selena, so much for organizing this, and thank you, Maggie, for the lovely meditation.
Okay, Sarah.
Trying to unmute. Oh, yeah, it's wonderful. One of the things that I shared, I didn't share publicly, but I shared in practice. I decided to not process the cards for each month and just wait, as Bill was saying, to arrive in the month and let it speak to me in that moment, to let go of, the desire to control, anticipate, and all of that, and just be present in the moment of the ritual and to return to it each month and then glean whatever is present in that moment. So beautiful. Thanks.
Diane.
I agree. I think it's been very rich and so beautiful. I so enjoyed everyone, and it's amazing. It just validates my how I want to be in community and how I want to be in the world and how I want to be in myself. So I'm game for whatever works for folks, and the equinoxes or the solstices are great. So thank you.
Hey, Betsy.
Yes, yes, I would love to continue. And solstice and equinox sounds great. And in the meantime, we can all stay in touch. So yeah, I look forward to the next time we all see each other on Zoom. Thank you.
Paige.
Diane took my word. I was just say this is rich. So thank you. I really appreciate it. And I'm looking forward to being with any of you anytime.
Thanks, Paige. And Maggie.
I'm grateful for all of you and the way that you made it your own. And I feel like I want to integrate things that I heard others do during their experience with this. And I think meeting quarterly is wonderful. Yeah. It's been a real connecting experience for me. So thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you all. Yeah, one of the things that the muscle that I have built is a new way of connecting. Like, we've gotten used to, all got used to meeting in groups and in person. And that was a beautiful way of learning to connect. And then through COVID, we've all learned how to connect electronically through Zoom, and that's been lovely. And this has been yet another subtle level of, some people would check in on Slack or not, but there was a connection nonetheless that was very strong, and I felt it for sure. And so it's interesting to pay attention to how those invisible threads can feel just as important and just as true as any of the other ways that we're more used to it. So the cards up at the top are our 13 Holy Nights cards, and they've been keeping me for the collective, and they've been keeping me company for this time. And I will probably leave them up a day or two longer and then change. And 13 little LED candles I lit one every day and left them on for the entire time, replace them if they wore out. So I will be ceremonially thanking the light and turning off the candle with a little prayer. And blessings to all of you. So until we meet again, love, love, love all of you. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Okay, if you want to watch recording, I'm sure Stephanie will have it ready within a couple of days, and I'll put it in the Slack channel and then on the page as well. Thank you all.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Have a good night.
You too.
Susan's probably sawing logs.
She's probably sleeping, I hope. Yeah, that was real nice, Selena. Really nice.
Thank you. Yeah, your meditation journey was really special. Thank you for doing that.
Oh, good. All right.
Okay.
Well,
We'll probably talk in the next few days.
yeah,
Good
sounds
luck.
good.
Yeah. Good luck with
I'm
Tom.
gonna join Susan. I didn't realize how tired. I said I'm gonna join Susan. I didn't realize how tired I was.
Yeah, well, it's 9. It's bedtime.
Yeah.
Okay, my dear. We'll talk to you later.
Okay, thanks a lot, Selena. Good night.
Good night.
Bye.